The Champions League is back, and back with it is all the drama. We had a number of exciting clashes of the teams who did not automatically qualify, headlined by Manchester City versus Real Madrid. Guys, let's dive into it. As mentioned, we had a slate of games ahead of us, some really juicy ties: Brest versus PSG, Juve versus PSV, Manchester City versus Real Madrid, as we've already spoken about, Sporting versus Dortmund. So again, the highlight of today was Man City versus Real Madrid, a game that I was looking forward to and watched the duration of. It was a game that was pitting two of Europe's best against each other, and they've had a number of exciting clashes. Covering both teams off very, very quickly, starting off with Man City, a team that we would kind of expect, particularly from a attacking standpoint. Haaland playing the striker position, De Bruyne just behind him, Savinho and Grealish on the wings, Stones and Silva in midfield with Ake, Diaz in the centre back positions with Akanji and Guardiola in the full back positions, and Ederson in goal. For Real Madrid, they had Mbappe up top, Jude Bellingham just behind, Vinicius and Rodrigo on the wings, Ceballos and Camavinga in the centre mid positions with Tchouameni and Asensio at centre back with Valverde and Mendy in the fullback positions with Courtois and goal. So key things to mention. I'll start from a Real Madrid point of view. The defence has been absolutely ravaged by injuries. Valverde in at right back, Tchouameni at centre back, Asensio playing, and Mendy. That they've been ravaged by injuries, and it shows the quality of their players because you've got Valverde who can play a number of positions. He can play on the right wing, he can play centre mid, he can play further forward, he can even play right back. The versatility that he's shown, same thing with Tchouameni, same thing with Camavinga when he's needed to. He's slotted in at left back as well. And so good players, great young players who have versatility and can do a job anywhere. That's the sign and the mark of a great football player. From a Man City standpoint, again, good to see De Bruyne and Haaland coming together. They haven't been able to feature together as much as they probably would have liked. And again, from a defensive standpoint, Man City have been a bit shaky. We've seen them in the league concede a number of goals, and today would be no different, especially at home. So at the start of the game, it was quite edgy. Both teams were showing their quality. Both teams were showing that they could get something out of the game. Period of domination for both teams. It was Haaland who opened up the scoring in the game, making it 1-0. A really interesting move and brilliant move from Man City, to be honest with you. They were operating on that left-hand side really, really well early on in the game. A ball finds itself from the left wing into the box for some reason and somehow covered and some reason somehow Guardiola is actually in the box. He brilliantly takes the ball down and finds Haaland, who perfectly puts the ball into the back of the net. A really well worked goal from the team. I have to give my hats off to Man City for that goal. There was suspicions of it being offside. However, with the semi-automated VAR, they were able to confirm that Haaland was onside. Manchester City were on their way. 1-0 up, and it was a deserved 1-0 lead for them. And I spoke about how effective and how good they were on the left wing, and I really did enjoy Jack Grealish creating from that left wing position. Constant threat. I know he hasn't had the best of times at Man City in terms of his goal scoring, but he is a creative force when given the opportunity. And his injury seemed to change how Man City would go about the game. He was taken off in the 30th minute for Phil Foden, who had a really, really good impact on the game as the game progressed. Going into the halftime break, they were winning 1-0. And again, it was a 1-0 lead that Man City had deserved. Going into the second half, much more of the same was expected. As you can see, the game was evenly contested in terms of possession. However, where Real Madrid edged in the second half, particularly was with their shots and their shots on target. A number of key opportunities created, and it was one that they took with Mbappe, the man of the moment who had one of his breakout moments against Man City when playing for Monaco, would get himself on the score sheet. It was a ball floated into the box. He finds himself peeling off the defender. I wouldn't say it's the cleanest finish he's ever had, to be honest with you. It comes off his shin, but it was a goal that Real Madrid did deserve. It was a goal that set the game alight, and it seemed like both teams opened up from that point onwards. Man City kind of sat back a little bit in the second half, and they paid the price for it. As the game opened up even more, they took back control. As we'll see when we look at the momentum, you can see as the second half started, Real Madrid were in complete control. As soon as that goal was scored, Man City start to come out and start to play a little bit more. And it was Phil Foden, who we did speak about, who won the penalty. It was a mistake by Danny Ceballos to foul Foden. It was on the edge of the box. I was not 100% certain in the beginning. However, looking upon it, yes, he catches him just inside the box, and the penalty was given. Ceballos essentially kind of tainted his own really good work earlier in the game with the assist for Mbappe, and that left a really negative mark. However, he's been performing pretty well for Real Madrid, and that shouldn't take away from all that he's done in his previous performances. So Man City found themselves 2-1 back up. A penalty was won. Haaland was the one to finish it, and 2-1 up. It looked like Man City were running off into the sunset. However, that was not the case. Brahim Diaz against his old team, who had come on for finishing off the rebound from a poorly saved shot by Edison, and he put his team back in the tie. A 2-2 draw was more than enough for Real Madrid to take back to the Bernabeu. However, they weren't finished there. I'll be honest with you, Man City looked all over the place. They didn't seem to have any confidence, any structure in terms of how they would see out the game. Even at 2-2 going to the Bernabeu, you know, that's not a horrible result for Man City. They would have obviously loved to win. However, losing would be a disaster, and that's exactly what happened. Jude Bellingham in the final moments of the game, with some really smart play, Vinicius on the wing continues to drive into the Man City box after they lost possession in the midfield. He continues to drive. His shot does go wide, and who is there to finish? None other than Jude Bellingham, the match winner on every occasion. He seems to turn up for Real Madrid, and he's done it again. A great performance by him. He wasn't the only star who performed today. There was a number of great performances across the pitch, starting off with Haaland. His 2 goals, can't take that away from him. He is a finisher. Put the penalty away, put the chance away to put Man City in the lead, and so he did his job from a striking position. 2 goals from him, potentially 2 goals from him, and he did his job. From a Man City standpoint, outside of that, wasn't overly impressed by any other player on the team apart from Guardiola. I think he was really impressive, and how he continues to find himself in these positions, only Pep knows, and only he knows, because he continues to pop up in attacking positions and has an influence on game. From a Real Madrid standpoint, absolutely incredible team performance to come away from home to one of the best teams in Europe and do what they did. You got to give your hats off to them. Yes, Man City have been beaten by other teams in England and in Europe, yes. However, this is a bigger opportunity for them than has come in the past, and so for them to lose here in the manner that they did, you know it has to be heartbreaking for Man City. Real Madrid shone. Mbappe got his goal. Bellingham with the winner. Vinicius was a constant threat. Rodrigo was impressive. The whole team, the makeshift defense. Carlo Ancelotti. You got to give your hats off to Real Madrid for their performance, and they go into the second leg with a 1-goal advantage after winning 3-2. So we'll move on to the other games which rounded out the round of 32. Firstly, starting off with Brest versus PSG, the early game, and Dembele continues to be on absolute fire, a brace which signifies his current form and all the brilliance. And you have to look back to, you know, when Barcelona sold him, they weren't able to get the best out of him, and PSG have. Yes, different situation, different circumstances. However, he is definitely shining for Brest. It looks like their Champions League journey has come to an end. Again, they've given a great account of themselves. However, this is where it ends. PSG are too much of a force for them. I continue to look at their midfield. Vitinha, Neves, Ruiz, very, very top quality. And again, it's going to take a top quality team to make sure that PSG are out of this competition, and Brest are not of that quality, unfortunately. PSG need to see it out in the second round. PSG needs to see it out in the second leg, which I'm sure they will do, and they will be advancing to the round of 16. Next up, Juve versus PSV, a result we were expecting, but PSV put up a fight away from home, which was probably a little bit unexpected. It shouldn't be, because PSV have a lot of quality. It's a Juve team who we know are very difficult to beat, difficult to break down. They have gone on a run of who knows how many draws in Serie A. They consistently find a way of not losing, which is a credit to themselves. But to come out of this game against PSV at home, win the game, and then go into that away leg with the advantage is a big, big thing for them. Again, a really solid team that they have at their disposal. How far will they go in the competition? It's yet to be seen. Who can they get next? We will study that after we review the last game, which is Sporting versus Borussia Dortmund. Borussia Dortmund running out as 3-0 winners. Very disappointing from Sporting to lose 3-0 at home. They've taken an absolute knock since losing Amarin. No one can question that. Gokeres wasn't starting, and again, that's something to be, you know, worried about in the terms of the future for Sporting. They did sell a couple of players in January as well, and so concern is rightfully there, but Borussia Dortmund did their job. A very dangerous team, a very exciting team. It starts off with their striker who's consistently getting goals, their wingers Adeyemi and Gittins constantly a threat. The question will be how well can they perform defensively today? Very, very well. Emre Can and Slotterbeck in the back, and so you can't really take anything away from them. But this is a technical team. This is a team that can be very dangerous on the counter. And again, same question with Juve: how far can they go? Depends on the matchup, but they will cause a problem for any team that they play simply because of how dynamic they are in attack and how technically sound they are across the rest of the team. So that's been Tuesday's Champions League games. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. We'll take a look at the knockout stage and see how we're looking. Again, the results that are currently there and the teams who will potentially await those teams as well. So it will be quite interesting to see who each team plays. Looking at the slate of games tomorrow, we've got Club Brugge versus Atalanta, Celtic versus Bayern, Feyenoord versus Milan, and Monaco versus Benfica. The pick of those games for me, I'll probably say Celtic versus Bayern Munich, not because of how competitive it may or may not be, but just because of the atmosphere that the Celtic home fans can produce in terms of atmosphere when it's a big European home tie, and I expect it to be no different tomorrow. Guys, I'll catch you tomorrow to review all of these games. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. It's been EDA. Peace.